Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be covering the Force of Nature as part of the Scouts Patch series we have running on the channel. If you don't know what Scouts Patch is, or you're brand new to the channel, it's basically a series where we are going to be going over all of the scout weapons, and I'll be giving you guys as much information as I can about the weapon and the best places to use it and how you should be using it. Or at least I'll be trying to. Really quickly before we start this video, YouTube decided that when you click subscribe, which I know you all will, obviously, it will only let you see notifications occasionally and not whenever I post. So you have to click the bell and set notifications to whenever I post if you're interested in seeing everything I'm doing, which would be assumed if you're subscribing to a channel. I don't know. YouTube is a bit dumb, alright? Anyway, after that little channel plug and begging for your subs, let's get into covering the Force of Nature. So, as I'm sure you're all pretty much aware at this point, the Force of Nature, aka the Fan, with a capital of F and N, is an unlockable primary weapon for the Scout. It's described on the TF2 wiki as a large double-barreled hunting shotgun with sawn-off barrels and a wooden stock. The Force of Nature comes in a couple of different qualities, such as the Strange, Festive and Australium. You can unbox the Strange Force of Nature from crate 47 and unbox the Festive from crate 78. Though I'm not sure you can open the 78s anymore. Let me know in the comments if you could do that, it would really help. So far what I've seen, I don't think you can buy the keys anymore, so you might not be able to open them, but if you still have a key for some reason, you might be able to. And finally, you can receive an Australian Force of Nature from MVM for completing a tour. However, it's super rare that you actually get one, and if you do get an Australian, I think the Force of Nature might be a little bit disappointing. An alternative method of getting one of the variants of the Force of Nature is by going to stntraining.eu, who are the sponsors of this video. They have really good prices when it comes to selling items to you, and their bots work super quickly to make sure you're not waiting very long to buy your stuff. If you want to check out the site, there'll be links in the description to buy each variant of the Force of Nature, so browse through them if you want to. You can also own this weapon in any of the thousands of war paints that are in the game. I don't think there's thousands, but there's a lot of them. I wasn't going to mention this because it's basically a waste of items at this point, but you can actually craft the Force of Nature using the in-game crafting system by using a scout token with a primary token and a scrap metal, which gives you a small chance to actually get it, but considering you could use any trading site to trade one of your unwanted weapons for it, spending that much on crafting one is really not worth it. Now that we've talked about how to obtain the weapon, let's jump into the meat of the video, which is the stats of the weapon. All the numbers you will need to know when using the weapon should you want to use it effectively. Much like the original scattergun, the Force of Nature is a shotgun, which means that it does insanely high damage at a closer range and isn't nearly as useful when you're super far away from your target. From point blank, you can be expected to do anywhere from 92 to 113 damage. It's a bit of a random range, but oh well. And then at long range, you're going to be dealing around 3 to 11 damage, which is barely anything at all. While using the Force of Nature, you'll only be able to load 2 bullets into your clip, which is a loss of 4 shots you would have had if you were using the regular scattergun. To counter this though, you can shoot the 2 shots in your clip twice as fast as you can shoot 2 shots with the scattergun, meaning you could easily be dealing a lot of damage very quickly by unloading both of your bullets into an unsuspecting target. One thing to note is that if you only shoot 1 shot and start reloading, you will lose the other bullet that was in your clip, as you can see it being ejected from the shotgun in the reload animation. Meaning you'll be completely losing a bullet if you have auto reload on and only shoot 1 shot. Most of the times this has barely any significance to the game and you won't even notice it, but when times get tough you have to be careful. Hell, it took me a few years of playing TF2 before I even noticed the Force of Nature did that. Now let's talk about the best ways to use this gun and a feature I haven't actually mentioned yet. Now, really quick before we jump into how to actually use the weapon, there is another feature of the Force of Nature which I haven't explained yet, and that is the knockback function. When you shoot an enemy with the Force of Nature, you will send them flying away from you, which can be very useful on maps like Upward, where there are a lot of cliffs and stuff for people to fall down. However, the knockback only occurs on the first shot you fire at an enemy, unless you wait a whole 1.5 seconds before shooting again to reset the knockback effect. This can be really useful if there's a soldier really close to you with a shotgun out and he's about to destroy you with it. So if you hit him with the Force of Nature, he goes flying away, the shotgun isn't nearly as effective. There's a bunch of other uses for it as well, but the next one I want to talk about is probably the coolest. And that other use is that it allows the scout to do a third jump effectively. By shooting down while in the air, the scout will be launched upwards again, while still having a second jump available to use, meaning you could get into some weird spots the scout wouldn't normally be able to, which is pretty cool. The Force of Nature can be deadly at point blank range. With a slight increase of damage over the scattergun, you're able to get a big meat shot off for at least 92 damage, and you can also fire twice as fast to follow up that shot and hopefully finish off the enemy. That is, if you haven't flung the enemy 20 meters away from you with a knockback from the first shot, which is one of this weapon's downfalls. But most of the time, if you're fighting a class with only 125 HP, the mid-range damage should be enough to finish them off, providing you hit the first shot and providing you hit the second shot and they're not overhealed. One thing I have found while using the Force of Nature is that I do end up still aiming at where they were before they got knocked back, so I do end up missing the second shot a lot of the time. It's just something you have to kind of get used to, and it's really not that difficult to adjust to. The knockback can also be used really well in one-on-ones and even just in general combat. By boosting yourself into a position where you have the high ground or another type of advantage could make the difference in a fight and almost make sure that you win it. I say almost because you might be like me and manage to lose any type of fight you're ever in. In my opinion, the Force of Nature is an amazing weapon when it comes to combo play within TF2. There's so many different items that it would work super well with, but it all just depends on what playstyle you're going for. If you wanted to go for some pure movement on the scout to make sure you can make any jump and use that to your advantage while fighting people, then you compare the Force of Nature with the Winger, which gives you a much better height on each jump you take, meaning that even with the 2 regular jumps the Scout has, you could be reaching even higher with those 2 jumps. That's even without pairing the knockback jump from the Force of Nature as well, which is insane. If you want to take it a step further after that, you could even pair the Winger and the Force of Nature with the Atomizer, which gives you an extra jump while you are holding it, which means you could have up to 4 jumps, which for those of you who are really good at maths, would know that 4 is double the amount of jumps the Scout could normally do, which is 2. Well done. I don't know why I wrote that into the script. But that's not the only thing the Force of Nature is good for. As it does more damage than the scattergun, it could very easily be paired with something like the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol, or the regular pistol. Due to the fact that its damage seems to fall off really quickly, you're going to be needing a secondary to close the gap while you are trying to get into the point blank range to deal the biggest hard hitting shots. I mean, I guess the Winger would work here as well, but with only 5 shots in the clip, you'll find yourself reloading that thing a lot more, which might not matter, but I'd like to have a few more bullets, just in case. I feel like the Mad Milk just pairs well with any primary weapon for the Scout ever. Dealing slightly more damage allows you to get more health back, which could be a lifesaver in a lot of fights. There's not much more that needs to be said about this weapon. Then obviously you can also pair this with the Boston Basher or the 3-Rune Blade if you wanted to build Uber with a medic. In my opinion, there aren't too many melee weapons that make a massive difference on a loadout, other than maybe the Sandman, but that even then is not as useful as it used to be, so I don't really know. If you think I'm wrong about that and you think some melee weapons make a massive difference to a loadout, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about what you guys think about them and if I'm missing something out from these videos completely. So yeah, comment below. In my opinion, the Force of Nature is a gun I never really use, but definitely should use a lot more than I do. It's amazingly fun when you're doing well with it, and it brings a fresh new style to Scout that a lot of people might not actually know exists, or have never tried for themselves. Especially when paired with the other weapons I mentioned that increase mobility, you'll be able to explore the maps a lot more than you normally could, which could open a few little routes you might not have known about, or have had access to before. I like the fact that the Scout has certain things you could change within its core loadout to completely change the way you play as him, and I'll be making an effort to use the Force of Nature more, and I apologise in advance for the probably awful gameplay you're going to be seeing because of that. So that is going to do it for the video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, let me know by leaving the video a like and comment down below what you liked about it. If you didn't like the video, then let me know as well by typing something in the comments, letting me know where to improve. I tried to go much more in depth this time around because I wanted to get much more information out about the weapon and kind of just gauge your opinions on it and see if that way worked. This series is just going to be me trying to improve at video making and basically eventually find the perfect formula for this. I still don't know really what I want this series to become, but I'm working on it and trying to make it better every time. So if some things seem off, you gotta let me know. Once again, make sure to check out the links in the description to stntraining.eu. Even clicking the link helps me out a lot. They are a really good site when it comes to trading. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and also check out my social media links in the description and anything like that. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.